Students, today we are going to learn reported speech. So let's start reported speech, direct and indirect speech. Whenever we have to give information about what people say or think, we can do this using direct speech, that is quoted speech, which is in double inverted comma, or indirect speech, that is reported speech. Direct speech. It denotes exactly what someone had said. It appears within quotation marks and should be word for word. For example, he said today's lesson is on laptop, or today's lesson is on laptop, he said. Indirect speech. It reports the words of another person and doesn't use quotation marks to enclose what the person had said. Also, it doesn't have to be word for word. When reporting someone's speech, the tense usually changes. This is because when we use reported speech, we usually denote a time frame in the past. As the person who spoke originally in the past, the verbs therefore usually have to be in the past too. For example, direct speech, I am going to the theater. Indirect speech, he said he was going to the theater. Some basic changes while doing conversion from direct to indirect speech. First, in indirect speech, the direct speech is placed within inverted commas. The reporting verb is separated from the direct speech by a comma. The first word in inverted commas begins with a capital letter. In indirect speech, no inverted commas are used. The comma separated the reported verb from the direct speech is removed. The indirect speech is introduced within connecting words like that, if, how, where, why, etc., depending upon the kind of sentence, whether it is request, advice, or command. The tense of the reporting verb remains unchanged. The reporting verb changes according to the meaning conveyed by the speech. All types of sentences change into assertive statements. The adverbs of time and place, verb forms and pronouns denoting different persons change as per the sentences. So let's see how tense changes. As a rule, when you report something someone has said, the following tense changes occur. Direct speech, and indirect speech. In simple present tense, direct speech, he said it's hot. In indirect speech, past simple, he said it was hot. Present continuous, she said I am teaching mathematics online. Past continuous, she said she was teaching mathematics online. Present perfect simple, she said I have been on the web since 1990. She said in past perfect simple, she said she had been on the web since 1990. Present perfect continuous, he said I have been teaching English for 5 years. He said he had been teaching English for 5 years. Past simple, she said I taught online yesterday. Past perfect, she said she had taught online the day before. Past continuous, he said I was teaching earlier. He said he had been teaching earlier. Past perfect, she said the lesson had already started when he arrived. No change. She said the lesson had already started when he had arrived. Past perfect continuous, he said I had already been teaching for 10 minutes. No change here. He said he had already been teaching for 10 minutes. Change in modal verbs. Direct speech, will. She said, I will teach mathematics online tomorrow. Indirect speech, here we use would. She said she would teach mathematics online the following day. Can. She said I can teach mathematics online. Could. She said she said she could teach mathematics online in indirect speech. She said, I must have a computer to teach mathematics online. In indirect speech, it convert like she said she had to have a computer to teach mathematics online. He said, what shall we learn today? He asked what we should learn that day. May He said, may I open a new browser? Might. In indirect speech. How we use it? He asked if he might open a new browser. Direct speech, I might go to the theater, he said. Indirect speech, he said he might go to the theater. Whenever we have to denote something that is still true or is a universal truth, present tense is used in the reported speech. Direct speech, the earth is spherical in shape, he said. Indirect speech, he said the earth is spherical in shape. You can also use the present tense if you are talking about a future event. Direct speech, next week's lesson is on tenses, he said. In indirect speech, he said the following week's lesson is on tenses. Time change. If the reported sentence contains an expression of time, it must be changed to fit in with the time of reporting. For example, words like here and yesterday should be changed if they have different meanings at the time and place of reporting. Expressions of time if reported on a different day. This evening, that evening, today, that day, tonight, that night, these days, those days, now, then, a week ago, week before, last weekend, the previous weekend, here, there, next week, the following week, tomorrow, the next or following day, yesterday, the previous day, or the day before. In addition, if you report something that someone said in a different place to where you heard it, you must change the place from here to there. For example, at work, how long have you stayed here? He said to me. At home, he asked me how long I would say I would stay there. Pronoun change. When referring to the first person, that is I, we, etc., they change according to person and gender of the subject of the reporting verb. For example, direct speech, Tina said, I have a lot of pending work to finish. In direct speech, Tina said that she had a lot of pending work to finish. So here, okay, when referring to the second person, you, your, etc., they change according to person and gender of the object of the reporting verb. For example, direct speech, Dipali said to Rohan, you are good at painting. Indirect speech, Dipali told Rohan that he was good at painting. Pronouns of the third person, that is he, she, it, they, his, her, etc., they remain unchanged. For example, direct speech, Sheena said she is very tired. Indirect speech, Sheena said that she was very tired. Reporting verbs. The most common verbs used in indirect speech are said, told, and asked. Asked is used to report questions. For example, I asked Jamie what time the movie started. Told is used with an object. For example, Jamie told me he felt tired. Here, me is the object. Said is used without an object. For example, Jamie said he was going to teach online. The other verbs which we can use apart from said, told, and asked are accused, admitted, advised, alleged, agreed, apologized, begged, boasted, complained, denied, explained, implied, invited, offered, ordered, promised, replied, suggested, etc. Using them properly helps you precisely denote the tone and the attitude of the speaker. For example, he invited me to the seminar. He begged me to come to the seminar. He ordered me to come to the seminar. He advised me to come to the seminar. He suggested me to come to the seminar. In reporting questions, we can use reporting verbs like inquired, asked, and questioned when the question is introduced by an interrogative word. When the question is not introduced by an interrogative word, then the reporting verb is followed by whether or if. In reported speech, the interrogative sentence is changed to assertive sentence by removing the question mark. For example, direct speech, Sheila said to Rohit, will you help me? Indirect speech. Sheila asked Rohit if he would help her. Direct speech, he said to me, what do you want? Indirect speech, he asked me what I wanted. In reporting commands and requests, reporting words like ordered, requested, offered are used, and the imperative mood is changed into infinitive verb form. Instead of using conjunction that imperative sentences used to as a connector in reported speech. For negative commands and requests, not plus infinitive is used in reported speech. For sentences beginning with let, the reporting verb is changed to suggested or proposed. For example, direct speech, he said to her, please work hard. Indirect speech, he requested her to work hard. Direct speech, I said to Kajal, do not waste your time. Indirect speech, I requested Kajal not to waste her time. Direct speech, she said to us, let's look at the chart. Indirect speech, she suggested us to look at the chart. When reporting Expla- exclamations and wishes, reporting verbs like exclaimed, applauded, desired, wished are used to denote various kinds of emotions. In exclamatory sentences, conjunction that is used as usual, but all exclamatory words like hooray, alas, bravo, oh, etc. are removed in the indirect speech. For example, direct speech, the boss said to him, well done, you did a great job. Indirect speech, the boss congratulated him on doing well and said that he had done a great job. Direct speech, he said, how clever I am. Indirect speech, he exclaimed that he was very clever. Use of that in reported speech. In reported speech, the usage of word that is optional. For example, he told me that he lived in Hawaii, or he told me he lived in Hawaii. However, in case of questions, we use if. For example, he asked me if I would come to the party. So, here our reported speech topic is over. Thank you.